In this segment, I'm going to show you how to find angle between two vectors. So if two vectors are given to you, they will be at an angle to each other. So how do we go about finding that particular angle? So we'll do this through an example. So let's suppose somebody is giving you two vectors, saying that, hey, the two vectors are 3i plus 5j plus 7k, and then the other vector is 11i plus 13j plus 17k, and the person is asking you to find out what's the angle between these two vectors. So angle between u and v vector. So what we do is we take advantage of two things. First, we know how to find the dot product of the two vectors by simply multiplying the components to each other. And then we also use this to advantage that the dot product is also defined as the magnitude of u times the magnitude of v times cos theta, where theta is the angle between the two vectors. Let's go ahead and calculate this number, and this number, or not this number, but that's what we want to calculate in the first place. Let's calculate these two numbers in the first place. So what is the magnitude of the u vector? It will be simply the square root of the square of each component, which is 3 square, which is right here, plus 5 square, which is right here, plus 7 square, and that magnitude turns out to be 9.11. Let's go ahead and find out what the magnitude of v is, which will be the square root of the square of the individual components of the vector, which will be 11 square plus 13 square plus 17 square, and that gives me 24.06. So if you now want to write down what the dot product of the two vectors is, which is given by the magnitude of u times the magnitude of v times cos theta, and what we want to get is the magnitude of u is 9.11, the magnitude of v is 24.06, and then we of course multiply by cos theta, so we get 219.2 cos theta. We can also now calculate the dot product of the two vectors u and v by multiplying the corresponding components. So which means that if I have to multiply find the dot product of these two vectors, then it will be equal to, let me write this down, which is 3i plus 5j plus 7k dot product with 11i plus 13j plus 17k. So what that is going to be, the dot product of the two vectors, will be simply multiplying this component with this corresponding component, the 5 component with the 13 component here, and the 7 with the 17. So I'm going to get 3 times 11 plus 5 times 13 plus 7 times 17, and that number here turns out to be equal to 217. So what you're finding out here is that the dot product is given by this quantity, and the dot product of the two vectors is again given with this quantity. So those two quantities should be equal to each other. So let's see what we get from there. So we are finding out that 219.2 cos theta should be equal to 217. So if that's the case, then cos theta is 217 divided by 219.2, and that is 0.9900 up to 4 significant digits. And if I want to find theta, I'll take the cos inverse of 0.9900, and that turns out to be 8.124 degrees. And that's the angle between the two vectors, and that's the end of this segment.